Welcome to r/slash idontworkherelady, where we share stories about normal people who are actual customers that are mistaken for employees at that establishment. If you like what you hear, make sure you hit that subscribe button and get ready for some laughs. This isn't a dog daycare at all. A while back, I was working in an office that allowed dogs. It was an open floor plan, and since customers never came into the office, we kept the dogs' food and water bowls right by the front door, just because it was the most convenient space and no one else would see them but us who worked there. Of the 6 of us who worked in the main office area, I was the only one who didn't have a dog. No pets policy at the apartment, and always felt horribly left out. To make matters worse, across the way was a doggy daycare. One day, a very frantic woman came in and she had an absolutely massive basset hound with her. Usually the only people who came into the office were associates who had appointments with someone working there, but it was rare they brought their dogs. She ran up to me and said, "Do you work here?" And I said, "Yes, how can I help you?" And she said, "I wasn't sure if you took walk-ins, but I read online I could just drop them off. I tried to call, but no answer." I didn't know exactly what she was talking about at that point, and I said, "Come again? Who did you call exactly?" Thinking if I could just saddle her off to whoever she came to see, I wouldn't have to decipher her problem. She said, "Well, it doesn't matter now. Look, something's urgent's come up, and I really need to leave him here. Here's his food he likes, and I'll be back in a few hours." At this point, I wasn't thinking of the doggy daycare. I thought maybe she was a friend of someone here. I said, "Well, all right. Can I get your name, please?" And she said her name and then asked if I needed to sign anything, and I was so confused at that point. I just said, "Why would I need you to sign something?" And she left almost immediately. So I took Otis, the dog, to the back and showed him to my coworkers, and no one knew the woman or dog. I was worried she wouldn't come back, but at the same time, my wish for an office dog had been granted. And Otis was supremely chill. All he did all day was lie around and drool onto his own ears. I just freshened him up every now and then, took him out every couple of hours, and he was happy as a clam on a big, cushy dog bed we thankfully had an extra of. He just loved attention from anywhere he could get it. At the end of the day, the woman, thank God, came back. She said, "Thanks, you're a lifesaver. How was he?" And I said, "He was a champ." And was about to say, "But why is he here?" when she said, "That's a relief. Most kennels says he gets anxious around other dogs. I heard you operated at a much higher capacity. I was thrilled to see you had so few clients in the room at one time. So, how much do I owe?" And that's when I realized she thought we were a dog daycare. Now, I probably should have corrected her, but I loved my day with the office dog, and I did want to get paid for supervising the strange dog all day. So I just threw out the number that sounded fair and appropriate. "That'll be $20, I said. She replied, "Really?" in this very high tone, and I couldn't tell if I'd overshot or undershot, but she paid me and left. My coworkers were laughing hysterically when they realized what had happened, and we thought it would just be a good story for the future. But the next week, she came back. She said we were so much more affordable and less overcrowded than her other place that she was happy to use us. I was glad for the company, so I just took them. I didn't think there was any way she couldn't have at least some idea we weren't a dog daycare. The whole ordeal was so strange, I just figured, don't question a good thing. I was much younger and dumber then. Not long after, Otis started getting dropped off 2, sometimes even 3 or 4 days a week. I was in heaven. He was such a love, and he made fast friends with the delivery guys and visitors. One day, we took our office Christmas card photo, and Otis was over that day, so we included him in a Santa hat. It was pretty great. But it turns out Otis's owner was friends with one of our clients who I guessed happened to have the card out on her table or was kind enough to display it alongside her other holiday cards. Because one day Otis's owner came in holding the card and walked up to me and said, I can't even believe I'm asking this, but is that my dog in this photo? This isn't a dog daycare at all. This is just an office, isn't it? She said it with a note of surprise, as though she was looking around and putting it all together for the first time. No coincidence that this was the first time she wasn't in some crazy rush either. She was like, then who are all these other dogs? And I explained. I was terrified she was going to demand her money back, or worse, take some sort of legal action against us for misrepresenting ourselves as a dog care business or complain to corporate. Instead, she basically said, why didn't you ever say anything? And I explained we just really like having Otis around. She stopped for a minute and seemed to be thinking and said, is that right? And I said, yes, and told the story of how I was the only one in the office without a dog, so loved the company. She seemed a little flummoxed or hesitant, understandably, because the whole thing was so weird. She turned to my coworker and asked if I was telling the whole truth. I don't know why she thought my coworker, also a stranger to her, was any more trustworthy than me, but hey, strange times. Coworker backed me up. So she said, well, I wish you'd said something sooner. Could have saved me a lot of embarrassment with my friend back there. All right, I have to get going. See you at 4 o'clock. And she left Otis, and I couldn't believe it. I said, so he can stay? And she replied, where else could I find someone to watch him one-on-one all day for $20? And she went off. Otis stayed my office dog until his family moved away, luckily right around the same time I took a new job. And our next story is blue shirt, black pants. I feel you all's pain. Imagine actually working at a place that has multiple businesses completely unrelated to your job and still have people expect you to know the answers. So I work at an airport. I'm one of the blue shirt wearing people who make you take all your crap out of your carry-on and take off your shoes. We get asked all kinds of questions about everything at the airport. How much is parking? When will the American Airlines counter open? When does Applebee's open? When will my check bags be put on the carousel? What gate is my husband's flight coming in on? When will flight such and such arrive? When will flight such and such depart? How much is the light rail to the city? How much is an Uber to the city? Questions like this all day, every day. Can't ignore them, can't be rude, can't give a smart-ass answer, and can't say, I don't work here. Usually we just direct them to the airport information desk, and then we get the stare of death because we won't help them. Shouldn't come as a surprise, though. These are the same people who cannot follow simple instructions like, please have your boarding pass and ID ready, or please take out all electronics larger than a cell phone. It's as if when the airport doors open, it sucks out their brain. I don't know. That was definitely a good one. Sometimes I feel like I'm the one. Every time I see a uniform, I'm asking those type of questions. Anyway, on to our next story. Because everyone that works here is dressed like it's the 1950s. So this happened a couple years ago, but it was so strange to me that it happened. Anyways, here we go. Me equals me. C equals customer. So I'm standing in line with my parents at this Tex-Mex grill place. Now it's important to note that we are all dressed up. My dad in a 3-piece suit, my mom a nice dress, and me decked out in a 1950s outfit. I'm talking the poodle skirt, can, ponytail makeup, and hair, the whole dang thing. So we order our food, and my parents go sit down with our friends we met there. I stay waiting for our food to come up, and that's when she walks in. She stands right behind me. I try my best to ignore her. Heck, I even start signing to my mom across the room about the weird lady breathing down my neck. Then finally, C, excuse me, me, yeah, C, where are the menus? Me, I don't know, maybe up by the counter. C, why don't you know? Me, realizes she thinks I work here, 'cause I don't need to. Then I turn my back on her and go back to signing with my mom. C, taps me on the shoulder. Well, you work here, don't you? Take her order. I literally stare at her for 10 seconds, then look down at my clothes. I kind of hold out my shoes so she can see them. Vintage shoes. Me, if I worked here, do you think I'd dress like this? Look at what the people behind the counter are wearing. T-shirts and blue jeans. Look at what I'm wearing. See, oh, well, I just assumed you work here since you're Mexican and all. Now, folks, I get called this a lot, or Latina, or Spanish, or any variation. I am not. Me. Well, that's mistake number 2 on your part. I'm Native American. Signs to her to have a good day and that I don't even know Spanish. Grabs my food and goes and sits down with my family. She ended up stopping by our table to apologize to me and my parents. After she left, we all just kind of laughed. So, yeah, not a dramatic story, but I'll always remember it. Man, I don't know if I would have been that nice if someone called me out of my race or nationality just because of the way I looked. So nice and calm. Anyway, hopefully you guys love these stories. This has been TNA, Top Notch Audio. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. Have a great day.